So now we get into supporting your needs during the presentation. A lot of people have anxiety about questions or concerns or thoughts or opinions that happen during the presentation. This is totally normal. That's okay. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to answer every single question in depth. I'm giving you that permission. So when you are in a situation where you are giving a presentation, it is great to practice answering questions. So what you can do if you're not quite sure what people will ask is you go into ChatGPT and you ask ChatGPT, I'm giving a presentation on insert topic. The audience is, be very specific about audience. Maybe you're giving it to mostly males in rural Appalachia who have worked in paper mills for the past 20 years, who are no longer working and are looking for volunteer opportunities. Very specific. You want to be very specific. So you tell them, I'm giving the presentation on this. This is my audience, being very specific. What would their top 10 questions be? And so ChatGPT will give you some ideas from there. And you can have a conversation with ChatGPT and say, I don't think these are really on point. I'm thinking more along these lines. What do you think? And have a conversation with it. So that's how you're able to sit there and say, okay, I see what type of questions could pop up. You can prepare for those questions. Now, anxiety also comes in the form of when people ask questions a certain way. And I've got 5 examples here with example scripting. So when I say you can practice these scripts, I mean within the context of when you are working on your presentation, as well as you can have somebody else ask these types of questions. So sometimes people will ask a question on a topic that's going to be covered in the presentation, but you're not there yet. You can use, thank you for that question. We will be getting into that next. Appreciate the segue. You can keep going. This will give you permission to show that you know where you are in your presentation, you know the content, you understood the question, and you're moving forward. So the other anxiety point is when you aren't sure of the answer and you want to make sure you also heard the question. You can say, thank you so much for this question. What I heard, put a D there, what I heard was, and then you repeat the question and you ask if that's correct. This shows your audience that you were listening to them, and it also gives you the opportunity to get your bearings to ensure that you heard the question correctly. Number 3 is when you know the answer but want to limit your rambling. This is where we get into a lot of trouble and have a lot of anxiety, is that we have so many parts to an answer. So a way to limit that is to practice. That's a great question. This has many parts. In short, the answer is X. Is that what you were looking for? If they run on and ask a bunch of additional, more and more in-depth questions, that goes to the next one. Say, I'm sorry, I can't seem to give you all of the answers that you want right now. Let's connect at the end and we can continue this conversation. That is a very kind and thoughtful way for you to lessen your anxiety while presenting and answering questions, and to give other people opportunities to ask what's going on, to engage more of the audience. Here's a fun one for when you trust the audience and you are stumped at a question. What can you do? You can say, what a great question. I'm stumped. Does anyone here have thoughts or answers regarding this question? This is a great way to engage people, understand maybe what they've learned, but also understand the experiences they've had that have informed some of their answers. You might work in public health or social work or in psychology, coaching, and there are a lot of nuances to various different fields, and you don't have to know everything. So this is a good opportunity to say that, and it shows humanity that you have. So it's okay to not know all the answers all the time. It's about how you execute and giving yourself permission on learning how to support yourself in the presentation, which brings me to my final section of stimming and fidgets. If you have ADHD, ADHD, general anxiety, it is okay to have something in your hand while you are presenting. I know a lot of times we're told that we need to stand still, we need to point, we need to just not be a distraction. Guess what? We are people in the front of a room or on a Zoom call. We need to kind of move our bodies, but also this helps us stay focused and on task. If you have something like that that helps you, use it as long as it's appropriate and not too loud or too distracting. So, but if you are, this also gives you the ability to stay focused in what you're trying to do and achieve. And I am all for that. So, those are the top things that you can do to start getting into the space where you're not reading from slides, that you are engaging your audience as well as yourself in the presentation, and you're positioning yourself for success by supporting yourself during the presentation through practicing, understanding what questions could be asked by doing your research, knowing your audience, and then getting into how you can answer questions when a Q&A could possibly be going long. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the portal. Happy to answer them. Other than that, that is the training for today.